Have you ever heard the term financially free or financial freedom or generational wealth?
Financially free.
Financial freedom.
Financial independence.
Financial freedom.
Build generational wealth.
Nowadays, it seems like everyone's just talking about these terms, but no one explains what they are or how do you actually get it? How do I become financially free? How do I create generational wealth? If you're interested, trust me, you're not going to want to miss this video. My name is Marcelle, and I am a licensed mortgage loan officer, MLS number 1830011. And I help blue collar workers get approved for a home, get a mortgage, get their home instead of being denied by big banks. Now, if that's you, trust me, I've been there too. When I was first buying my house, I was denied multiple times. But guess what? I was able to do it at the end. So if that's you, click the link below and I'll help you one-on-one. My team and I, whether you're looking in 9 days or 90 days, we'll be able to help you. Let's first start with understanding the principle or the rules of money. Most people don't know there's rules to money. The same way there are rules to success, there's rules in life. Number one, always want to spend less than you earn. See, nowadays where society shows us, hey, you must have more, you must get more, you must have more. We created this consumer mindset that the first thing we want to do is when we get paid is we want to spend it.
No, God! Hell no!
Stop it.
But we don't look at where the paycheck goes. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to write down how much income you make, how much you spend, where it goes. Create a budget for yourself. That's number one. Now, when you're writing your budget or you're looking at your budget, you want to make sure the first thing you do is pay yourself first. Probably like, why would I pay myself first, Malcolm? I'm getting the paycheck. No, you're paying your future self. So your future self needs an investment and also needs savings. Statistics show that most people do not have $1,000 saved for an emergency. $1,000. Most people don't even have that saved. So if you right now watching this video and you have at least $1,000 in an investment account or your savings accounts, pat yourself on your back because you're doing better than most Americans right there. Now, when you pay yourself first, the reason why we do that is because, look at this, Uncle Sam doesn't trust you enough to pay him after. No, Uncle Sam, especially if you're W-2, Uncle Sam takes their money out first. Before you get your paycheck, Uncle Sam says, huh? That portion is mine because I don't trust you enough to pay me back this money later on. So you're going to treat your savings, treat your budget the exact same way. You're going to make sure you set at least 10% or 15% aside for an investment and savings account. So right there, you're living off of 70% of your income. If you do 15 for each, that's 70% that you now have for other things. Does that make sense? Those are the first steps of creating financial freedom. Second principle of money, where your focus goes, money goes. So if you're focused on clothes, if you're focused on spending, your money will follow that thought. But if you're focusing now on, hey, I want to create an investment account, I want to grow my investment account, I want to focus on creating new sources of income, where the focus goes, your money will go. So focus on what you want. Right now, your goal should be saving the money to grow it. The third step is actually multiplying the money. The way multiplication works is the same thing that I think it was Albert Einstein who said it. You could correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, but the eighth wonder of the world is compound interest. It was either Albert Einstein or Warren Buffett. One of them said it. So when you start saving your money in a savings account with a high yield savings account, so this is not your regular savings account that's giving you 0.01 interest. No, a high yield is usually an account that's giving you 4.5, 5%, maybe 6%. You're getting 6% on your money every single month. Sometimes it might be yearly. It depends on the account. But you're getting this money every month, and it's way more money than if you leave it in your checking account or a regular savings account. So now you're doing what the third step is which is taking that money and multiplying it. And this is how you start creating financial freedom. Now, the idea of this money is we're not just going to leave it in a savings account. No, you're going to put enough aside to cover your emergency bills, right? So we have an investment account now, you have a savings account. Now we're creating an emergency fund account. Once you have enough money for that, everything else goes into the second or the first savings account, which is in the high yield. Now, this money is for your real estate. That's it. I don't want you to use it for anything else. Now, once you get enough saved, depending on where you live, let's say you live in New York. For New York, let's say we're going to buy a $500,000 house. We want to have at least 10%. Now, you're probably thinking, Malcolm, I don't need 10%. I need 20%. No, you don't. Now, with FHA, you're allowed to go as low as 3.5%, right? Remember that, 3.5. In this scenario, we're taking 5%. Remember, I said you need 10%. So we're taking half of that and putting it aside for the down payment. All right. So we're actually doing more than what's needed. Now, this $500,000 house isn't just a one family. No, 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 no. We were smart. We went around, we looked, and we found a two-family house that needed a little bit of TLC, and we're buying that. So not only are we getting a house, we're getting two homes for the price of one because we did a little bit of work. Now, this scenario might sound outlandish, but I promise you this is a real example that comes to me more than you would think. All right? You just have to be willing to put down the work. Now, granted, not all the times it's going to be 500,000. Sometimes it is a little bit more. I have one client who just put in an offer for a house that was 750, but it was a two-family with a full basement. 750 for a two-family with a full basement, meaning she can live in the basement and still rent out 2 units. Now, if you're living in the basement and you're renting out the other 2 units, guess what? How much is your mortgage going to be? It's going to be a lot less because it's generating income. You're generating money. Do you guys see how it works? Now, the cool thing is, not only are you now replacing your your rent money that you're probably spending now, because if you're renting, you have to pay something, right? So that money that you're no longer paying, that $1,000, you get to save. And you're also still generating 2 other incomes depending on how you rent it. Maybe like, oh, Malcolm, I'm not living in the basement. All right, so take the smaller unit and rent out the bigger unit because you get more rental income. The idea is you want the rental income to be, if not covering the mortgage, almost near the mortgage. So that money that you're saving, guess what we could do with it? You put it back in your high yield saving and you start growing more money to use FHA again to now, instead of buying a 2 unit, maybe now you buy a single family. And then once you leave, you rent out the whole apartment, the whole building. This is how we start creating generational wealth. You have to understand the principle of money and understanding that, hey, I'm doing this for a reason. My focus is on creating. My focus is on multiplying. My focus is on creating more money and more assets for my family. And once I die or once, my time comes, I'm going to leave it in place the proper steps to pass it down to the next generation, which then creates generational wealth. I don't know if y'all caught that. That's how you do generational wealth. And if you do it properly, you can put the property in a trust and have your family members own the trust. So when something happens to you, they don't have to pay a whole bunch of taxes on the property because they don't fully own it. The trust owns it. So this is how you start creating different things. Now, I'm not a licensed tax accountant, so please speak with a tax accountant to do it properly, but you need an attorney and a tax accountant. But there's a certain ways that the laws were created to help people who own property and who own businesses. So when you hear about big businesses like Apple not paying taxes, stuff like that, it's not tax fraud. They're just utilizing the codes in a way that was given to help support businesses. But we don't know about it because we're not studying. So if you have the information, utilize it properly, share it, and you create more success. But that's the proper way to create generational wealth. Now, another thing that happens when you own real estate, not only are you able to get depreciation, because every year you're able to claim that your property lost value because things depreciate over time, right? So that's another benefit. We also create equity. Every time that mortgage gets paid, you are able to then later on, when you need money, or if you just want to take out money to buy another property, you're able to say, hey, bank, I bought this house for $500,000. My house appreciated, meaning it went up in value. On average in New York, it's about 8 to 10% a year. My house is now worth, in about 3 years, let's just say, it went up 30%. My house is now worth, let's say, 600,000, which I think is more than 30%, but whatever. All right. It's now 600,000, but I've been paying mortgage for 3 years. So when I bought it at 500,000, right, it was still cheaper than what I was supposed to pay. And on top of that, I've been lowering down how much I owe you. So now my mortgage might only be 450,000. And that difference between the 600 and 450 is equity that you are able to tap into, and in a form of a heat lock, which is a home equity line of credit, or when you refi to either lower the rate or just take some money out. And what do you do with that? You can do whatever you want, because guess what? It's your money. But this is another form of creating wealth. Do you hear me? Not only were you get to live rent free, which is money saved, right? You might have actually made money from the tenants. You got equity that you didn't put money into because your tenants paid for it for you. And then on top of that, you had a house that appreciated. And then you got tax benefits on top of that. That's 5 things you were able to do with one property. And guess what? Once you have enough money, you can rinse, repeat, and do it again. And you keep doing it again. Then you help your mom do it. You help your brother do it. You help your friends do it. And guess what? You guys will start owning properties together. You're all owning properties. Boom, boom, boom. You all have 2 families. What do? 1031 exchange that property. So when you sell it, you pay no taxes on any of it, right? You're going to upgrade that house that you bought that's now worth 600,000-700,000. You had 5 friends all sell their house, right? That's 3.5 million. Everyone 700,000. That's about 3.5, right? Now that 3.5 million, right? We're going to then utilize it to buy something that's, drum roll, $15 million. So you took that 10%, that $50,000, and you were able to push it up until it's 3.5. Now you're buying an asset that's worth $15 million. Boom. Did you guys catch that? This is how you create generational wealth. This is what they're talking about when they say real estate is one of the easiest ways to create millions, billions, because of its concept. You leverage a small amount to borrow more. That is the biggest thing with real estate. Where else can you borrow? You put down 3.5%, 10%, 20% to leverage 80%. The bank is covering most of the money. You're just giving this little portion, but once you buy it and it's in your name, that increases your net worth. And especially, can you imagine buying a $15 million building? Do you know how much that rent roll is? Even after paying everything off, that rent roll is coming to you, which is increasing how much money you have saved, which is increasing your overall money. And guess what? You're going to rinse, repeat, and do the same thing. This is exactly the formula that I'm using to make myself a multimillionaire. The exact same formula. Buy single family houses, let them appreciate, collect the rent roll, 1031 them, and put it into something bigger. Exact same formula. So, if you've learned something in this video, please share it, comment, like it, of course, and subscribe for more videos, because I do videos like this all the time to give you guys financial and real estate information and make it simple, easy, and fun. Over and out.